Hello, welcome to Have a Go Satire, Two Lefts and a Right, the podcast version of Private Eye without the political substance. Each week we'll be sifting through the current events from 3 different newspapers.
I'm naive, weak-minded Liberal Will Palmer, and I swallow opinions from The Guardian.
I'm narrow-minded, self-congratulating right-wing shill Glenn Wade, and I'm secretly agreeing with the Daily Mail.
And I'm dreamy champagne socialist Darren J. Coles, and I'm condescending to read the working man's newspaper, The Sun. Basically, this story is about Anders Breivik. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
I say Breivik.
Breivik. Okay, Anders Breivik.
You say Breivik, I say Breivik.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Let's call the whole thing a monster.
I wish we could call the whole thing off, but we haven't.
Yeah, well, he blew up the government building, which I think killed a few people, didn't it? Killed about 8 people. And then he went to an island disguised as a policeman and proceeded to gun down about 76 people now.
Yeah.
It's just really awful crime. He's a kind of... Would right-wing nutter be quite an apt phrase?
And not really, because you could call Jeremy Clarkson a right-wing nutter, and for all the foxes he gleefully mows down, he hasn't gone to an island and gunned down children.
Okay. Well, we'll call... Okay.
To my knowledge.
Well, he's a serial killer / mass murderer. What's the official...
He's a mass murderer. I think a serial killer...
takes a breather in between murders,
pretty much.
Yeah, before he gets caught. Yeah, it's quite sort of systematic and slow. This one was, I suppose, just arbitrary. Would you say sort of arbitrary mass killings? Is that what?
I think mass murder is a good thing to call him.
The Sun have gone with the fairly non-inflammatory headline of the devil. They've gone with massacre in Norway, the face of a monster. Now, if you want to describe a killer, someone who's just been nuts, especially someone who's maybe mown down a few people with a gun, monster for the Sun is a banker. It's a good word. Just sort of accurately sums up a kind of hateful figure writhing around in children's blood.
You don't have to understand it, do you? Because if it's a monster, it's completely different to you, and it's easy to take it on like a one-dimensional.
It's like Grendel, the myth of Grendel. Do you remember Grendel who lived with his mother? Very similar to Anders. Anders lived with his mother. Do you remember Grendel? Was it Grendel?
Was that the kid from Recess, the teacher's pet from Recess?
No, yeah, the tall one with the glasses.
No, that was
no, the one with the sort of hair lip and the big chin. The one who could have been not well.
That was Randall.
Randall.
No.
Sorry.
Grendel was kind of... It's like an old Celtic tale. Grendel's an old Celtic tale, and he lived in a cave with his mother, and he used to come out, and he looks a bit like Anders, actually.
So this isn't the kid from Recess?
No, this isn't the kid from Recess. This is the mass murderer in Norway.
There's a picture of him there in The Sun, and he's got this smug little smile, like he's just smelt his own fart.
Well, me and Glenn were talking earlier. We thought he was remembering a fond memory.
Yeah, he doesn't look... they've all got this picture, all the tabloids, and even The Guardian's probably commented on it. His face is not that of a snarling lunatic. He's sitting there quite comfortably, as if he's been...
It's like he's sat in a really comfy chair, isn't it? And he's kind of enjoying the comfort of the chair.
To me, it seems as if he sat down after a long Christmas day, if he had children, and he's been up all night putting the presents out and doing the decorations. He's been cooking the dinner and seeing the in-laws. And he sat down and he's looked at his kids all happy, and there's a good film on, and he's gone...
He just managed to get he can get his Black and Decker out now and really kind of play with it a little bit.
While the kids have gone to bed, all like doped up on sugar and carbohydrates.
Yeah. But isn't it is interesting though, because those are two things: mass murderer, dad at Christmas. It's very opposite ends of the scale, but yet results in the same smile. So maybe it's that kind of you go full circle then, and it just comes to the same emotion.
That's right. Yeah, I think
don't know.
so. I think we could.
What I love is that they've just sort of got little details, just kind of fill column space. And one of the details is, the smirking killer's mad request to appear in military uniform was rejected. Arrogant Breivik, who loves designer fashion labels, wore a red Lacoste jumper over a red polo shirt instead. And I thought that'd be quite a good sort of... If fashion designers, they want to capitalise on that, launch their own kind of mass murderer serial killer range. You could release like a Ted Bundy
fascist-designer.
Yeah, fascist-designer. You could release you could sort of re-release all the Nazi gear. You could go a bit more niche. You could have the Charles Manson smock, the kind of cultish smock.
Oh yeah, that's like a summer caftan. Barbecues down the beach. made of maybe light hemp.
Yeah, light
fair trade hemp.
Yeah, fair trade hemp.
And then if you really want to, you can carve a swastika into your forehead and murder Roman Polanski's wife.
That's true, he did. Or I was thinking Ed Gein suit of skin. Because Ed Gein made all that. Yeah. And you could also have the lampshade accessories as well. The lampshade made out of tits, women's tits. You could also have the what else could you have? You could have
little accessories like the lip. When they went into his house, Ed Gein, they found a pair of lips hanging from 2 bits of fishing wire from his windowsill in his kitchen.
Really? What functional purpose did that have?
Aesthetic,
I don't know.
purely. I think.
Yeah.
Just think like, when you go
maybe
I wonder what a woman's disembodied lip looks like. Oh, there it is.
Well, I think it was probably just hung there, so he'd come in and go, "Oh, time for another kiss." I think we should pull it back to Anders Breivik.
Really. He had on his iPod.
Yeah, this is what the Mail have gone with. He killed with Lord of the Rings on his iPod.
It says here Lux a Turner, but here obviously this paper trying to appeal to the working man. A track used on films and TV, including Britain's Got Talent and The X Factor. So they're always trying to kind of reel it back there to more pressing issues in Britain.
Yeah.
What I find quite interesting, I mean, the Lord of the Rings. It's unfortunate that kind of culture, Lord of the Rings have brought happiness to millions of people. I mean, I think it's quite sad that these songs should be sullied. It's kind of like, Wagner being tarred with the brush of being a Nazi when, although he was an anti-Semite, he certainly wasn't a sort of genocidal anti-Semite like Hitler was. So, but it's quite sad. However, apparently this is quite interesting. He had, this chap, Breivik, he had a figure which indicated specifically 62,216 Britons who are race traitors who he'd identified and said deserved to die. The list includes former Prime Ministers Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, ex-Foreign Secretary Drax Straw, as well as singer Billy Bragg and the actor Ross Kemp.
Now,
Prince Charles and the Queen are singled out for criticism too. However, Breivik, who lived in London as a baby, clearly adores Britain. Clearly, because that happens when you're a baby. You get smothered in bowler hats and red buses, and you just can't get enough of it.
But what I love about that is just the way they put it. Lived in London as a baby, as if he was a baby that owned his own apartment.
or even when he came to London as an adult, he pretended he was a baby. Like he lived in Cape Town as a baker, or he lived in London as a baby, and then he walked around and everyone's going, "Oh, it doesn't really look like a baby, but I suppose we'll have to let him use the changing room." But he says, it says here that he says he does love Britain and refers to it more than any other country in his 15,000-page manifesto, 1,500-page manifesto. Sorry. And his heroes include Winston Churchill and Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh no!
Because Top Gear is, and he quotes, one of the funniest shows on TV. Now, I hate to draw comparisons between Jeremy Clarkson and a Norwegian fascist mass murderer. But if I have to, I suppose I can't ignore the facts. And
it's there on the page.
It's on the bit of paper. It's been printed. Millions of copies of these have gone out. And if the English Defence League and the BNP have to be sullied because he mentioned them in his manifesto, isn't it only fair that Jeremy Clarkson should be implicated as somehow influencing this mass murder of children on a Norwegian island?
like a kind of ideological accomplice.
Yeah,
really.
And I hate Jeremy Clarkson because he kind of makes anyone on the right seem a bit stupid, which I don't think's true.
A lot has been said about Jeremy Clarkson. We don't really have to go into it in any more detail. But for
we're not saying that he went over there personally and trained them up.
No,
but he did probably.
But what I'm saying is they should be put up for on trial. Yeah. Jeremy Clarkson should be put on trial, extradited to Norway and put on trial.
I was in a bar earlier on.
Yeah,
and this fella came up to me and said, Jeremy Clarkson, with all the money he gets from his lucrative Top deal with the BBC, has given 3 million of his own money to a man in Norway called Anders Breivik, who has spent it all on training and police uniforms and explosives and weaponry and compiling his little arsenal to go and murder children. And Jeremy Clarkson directly funded all that. I know it for a fact. Now this man might not have been, a person from the special services and MI5 who knew that.
Yeah. Did he sound like someone from ABBA? Did he sound like a member of ABBA? Was his accent Norwegian? Because if it was, then I know ABBA from Sweden, but it's pretty much the same fucking place, isn't it?
Well,
So
sorry,
I'm just saying, what was this?
Sweden?
It's a country.
Is it?
It's a country.
Is that part of Norway?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's capital.
Yeah. Sweden's the capital of Norway. Did he have any foreign accent at all? This bloke?
No, he did have a badge saying whatever I say is true.
Oh, fair enough. I don't need to ask any more questions. Jeremy Clarkson is, in my mind, one of the two members of the cell. That apparently the two cells.
Who's the third member?
Oh, that's a good question.
Who is the third member of the
cell? It's either Richard Hammond or James May, isn't it?
Who do you think?
I think James May was probably
pressured
at that time. No, I think Richard Hammond was more likely the accomplice, because I think James May was probably
off doing a toy documentary.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He was probably he'd probably tied himself up with his dead mother's tights in an airing cupboard, simultaneously trying to wank off to a vintage piece of Meccano. So I think he's out of the firing line for this one.
Yeah. So so that's it.
Richard Hammond.
We're not.
Do we all think it's Richard Hammond?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it probably
let's say, just say aye if you think it's Richard Hammond. Glenn Wade.
Aye.
Will Palmer.
Aye.
Darren J. Coles. Aye.
Motion carries.
We're not detectives.
That's democracy.
That's democracy.
That's democracy for
you.
you.
It's a process of deduction. We've seen it. We've read it in the paper. Anders Breivik watched Top Gear.
Rang Jeremy Clarkson.
Rang Jeremy Clarkson.
The other one who is...
So I think it probably went along this lines. It was probably like... Hello! Hello, is that Jeremy Clarkson? Yes, it's me! I just killed a squirrel! I would like your help, please, to murder loads of children in Norway. Sure, do you need any money? Yes, about £2 million that you've got from your lucrative deal with Top Gear. I'm a big fan of your show. Great! Richard Hammond's here too. He's interested in murdering children in Norway as well. James May's too busy wanking over his mother's
children? Are they lefty children?
Are they lefty children? Yes, they are lefty children. They are member of Labour movement. Traitors who let black people into a country. You've gone all Polish on me, but still. Yes, Richard Hammond, they are all lefty kids.
Yay!
What do you think should happen to them, Richard Hammond?
Oh, we should fund this man to mow them down. Yay!
What, you mean kill them all with a gun?
Yes, please.
What music do you think you should listen to? He's after some tips.
Oh, I've just been watching Lord of the Rings. It's very good. You should play that one that they play for X Factor and Britain's Got Talent.
Sounds like a great idea. Mr. What was your name again? My name is Anders Breivik, mad, right-wing, blonde, neo-Nazi, Teutonic man. I think you should listen to Lord of the Rings and go and kill all the children you can in Norway with our blessing. What do you think about that, Richard Hammond?
Yeah, it's a great idea, yeah.
Hooray! Oh, right, cheers, mate. I'll see you again. Got to go and film another episode of Top Gear where I'm going to spout some more pseudo-right-wing drivel. Thank you, Mr. Clarkson, and goodbye.
Now, that's not... Again,
accurate.
That's not documentary evidence, but it's what I imagine happened. I can see.
Well, yeah,
it
it's like in.
I would happily submit that as evidence in court.
I think I would.
I sentence him on that.